Okay, today is our listing session where I list books and show you exactly how I price them, how I research them, the whole 9 yards, and also how I set them up for shipping. Now, first off, this class will be recorded, so you can go back and watch it over and over again. I have a couple of things I want to tell you in the members area that are new. First off, the replay from our bonus class that was this past Wednesday night is available. It's called Bonus Training Local Book Sourcing. So we had quite a turnout for that class. I was very pleased to see so many people there. And it was a very thorough, or at least I thought it was a very thorough class on how to find used books in your local area and then flip them on Amazon. So as far as listing those books, it's exactly the same as listing textbooks. So I'm just going to be doing both here today. There's a class mind map for that as well. That's separate from our regular mind map. So there's lots of information in the class mind map, so be sure and download that. Okay, and probably the most asked question I've been getting is from our international friends, our international members, and I haven't forgotten about you. I have got your bonus training here on how to sell if you are not in the U.S. So right here is the video, and it's only about 10 minutes long, but it shows you how to use a prep service to send in your books. There are a couple of extra steps involved, but you'll be able to sell your books in the U.S. and have those books shipped from the seller to the prep service, and then the prep service will send the book to the Amazon warehouse. Okay, so if you're international, be sure to watch that video. All right, let's see now. Next thing I wanted to cover is a few of the items that I use when I'm listing my books, and this is especially applicable when you're buying books locally, when you're sourcing books locally, because there might be a little bit of prep that you have to do to the book. Like, for instance, you might have to remove a price sticker or something like that. So I've got a list here of items that I use just in prepping and preparing the books for shipment. Number one, scissors. You know, any kind of scissor is going to work. They just come in handy for different things. Magnifying glass. Now, if you're younger, you might not need this, but for me and some of my older friends out there, it's much easier to look up things like ISBNs if you've got a magnifying glass handy. Undo. Undo is a product. Let me go to Amazon. It's very, very handy. Once you start using it, you won't know how you get along without it. It's you can probably find this in a hardware store too. I just get mine off Amazon. It lasts forever. Just get a little bottle like this. It's an adhesive remover. It's for removing price tags. So if you've got a price sticker on the back of a book and you can't peel it off with your fingers, then just apply the undo formula to it, let it set for a few seconds, and just scrape it off, and it works really well without harming the book, usually without harming the book. All right, the next thing is lens cleaning cloth. So if you're using undo, then the lens cleaning cloth, you can just use that to wipe off the undo. You can use paper towels too, but I just find lens cleaning cloth is just much cleaner. Scotty Peeler. All right, Scotty Peeler. Again, this is a specialized tool for removing labels. It's right here. It's a kit actually. There's 3 different ones, and it just helps you to remove labels. You got different ones for different things. Very handy tool. Some type of scale. When you're starting out, a bathroom scale is fine. Just a scale that is big enough to weigh, I would say, at least 50 pounds. Okay, and while I'm talking about that, I should just throw out that you should never send in a box to Amazon that weighs more than 50 pounds. Okay, they don't like that. So always keep them under 50 pounds. I recommend a box size of 12 by 12 by 12. or 12 by 12 by 10. That way you'll have around 30 pounds, maybe 35 pounds, and it's easy to handle. Okay, so as far as the scale goes, the bathroom scale is fine when you're starting out, but once you get going, there's one that I use. It's called Smart Weight, and it's cheap and it works really well. It's got this is the ASIN for it if you want to look it up on Amazon. It's right here, and what's great about it is it's got a separate digital readout, so that when you put the box on there, you can see the readout here. If you're using a bathroom scale, it's kind of hard to see the readout. But if you are using a bathroom scale, the best way to do that is to weigh yourself and then pick up the box and weigh yourself with the box, and then just do the math. All right, next thing, some type of table. I use a card table just to keep my books on as I'm working through them. Shipping tape with holder, so you can get this from any office supply store or get it from Amazon. But make sure that you're using shipping tape and not packing tape, okay? And let me write that on here, not packing tape. Shipping tape is going to cost a little bit more, but it's much better than packing tape. Packing tape can come undone, and you don't want your boxes to come done in mid-shipment. And finally, our boxes, so again, 12 by 12 by 12 or 12 by 12 by 10, really just whatever you have. If you don't want to buy boxes, then just go to some retail store and look at the dumpster, or just ask them for boxes. If you have a ABC store, liquor store in your area, they usually have plenty of boxes, and you just ask them and then they'll give them to you. And a ruler or yardstick. Sometimes Amazon asks you in the shipping form to measure something. So maybe an item they don't have the dimensions on yet, and so you have to measure it. So that's pretty much everything I could think of that I use in my shipping. And as you can see, most of this stuff is stuff that you're either already going to have or that you can easily get, or in some cases that you don't need at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the listing process. My screen has changed now, and you should see a screen that says add a product. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a book that I'm going to have to explain something to you. All right, so what I want you to do is, when I pull the book up, I want you to follow along with me, and I want you to tell me what category this fits in. Remember the categories that we had from the past classes? Let me bring that mind map up, just so that you have should be under this one. I'm going to load that mind map. Because I think it would be helpful and educational if you tell me what category the book fits into. You know, why did I buy this book? Or why did I bought the book because there's profit, but why did I look at the book to begin with? You know, I told you that in the sourcing class, I told you that one of the things you've got to do is you've got to eliminate all the junk that's out there, all the things that are not worth anything, without looking at them, without spending any time scanning them. So I want you to tell me, why did I even take a look at this book to begin with? Give the mind map just a minute to pull up. This list of items right here, I'm going to put that in the members area for you. Okay, so right here we see the books that I tend to look for. Textbooks, college textbooks, elementary and high school textbooks, and then what I call pseudo textbooks. And these are books that aren't necessarily textbooks, but could be used as textbooks in certain classes. And then we have other potential sellers, which are niche collectibles and niche price guides, etc. We have fiction, which are very limited on the fiction, graphic novels, video game strategy guides, and the classics that are used in college literature. All right, and then I've got the things that I never sell, but I won't have any of those here, so I'm just going to close that down. All right, so what you can do right now is you can use your GoToWebinar screen to take a screenshot of this. Okay, if you look in GoToWebinar, there should be an option, and I can't see it from my end, but there should be an option to take a screenshot of a particular screen. So just take a screenshot of this screen, okay? If anybody knows what that looks like in GoToWebinar, maybe tell me so I can tell everybody else. Because since I've got the admin panel, I don't have that particular button. Yeah, Bill said it's an icon. It's the camera up top, and it's an icon. If what I recall, Bill, is that to the left? I think it's to the left of the screen, isn't it? It's to the right. Okay. So it's on the right-hand side of your screen. On the top, look for a shot of a camera top right. And if you click that, it'll take a screenshot of whatever's on the screen here. You could also just use screen print on your computer keyboard. And if you're watching on the replay, you can always just pull the mind map up and go through it. Okay? I'm not going to spend any more time on that. Let's just go ahead and get to it. Okay, here's the first book. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in the ISBN. Okay, here's the first book. It's called The Complete Guide to Buying and Selling Apartment Buildings. All right, now, as you're listing books, you're probably going to see something that looks like this, and this is, when the first time you see it, it's going to scare you because it says listing limitations apply. Okay, and there's a little link right there. If you click that link, it'll actually close down the thing that sells yours. The listing limitation that they're referring to is right here. They're referring to this condition, which is called refurbished, and I don't know why anyone would ever have a refurbished book, but for some reason, Amazon puts this on here. I think it's on all their categories. So you're not allowed to sell in the refurbished category. You're not going to want to anyway, so it's no big deal. Now, you're probably also going to see this under this section here, collectible. Most of you are not approved for collectible. If you want to sell collectible books, I can do an extra class on that, and I can show you how to get approved for it, but you need to sell a few regular books to start with. And honestly, I don't sell a whole lot of collectible books. It's more of just a hobby than anything else, okay? So as long as you see this right here that says sell yours, then you're fine. You can sell in the new condition and you can sell in the used condition, okay? So what we're going to do right now, though, is we're going to do some research on this book. Now, you notice that there's two results here. There's one here, and then there's one down here. Which one do you use? The rule of thumb that I always use is the one that has the most offers. That's the one that is probably correct. And as you can see here, this one's got 79, and this has only got 1. So what's happened here is some beginner seller who didn't know what he was doing went ahead and listed this one again. All right? You never want to list under this guy. Okay? You always want to list under the one that has the most, number of sellers. This has got 79. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to open this up in a new window, and we're just going to research this book. Okay, this is a paperback version. The sales rank is 54,000. It's a great sales rank. Now, this is a book I picked up locally, so I paid almost nothing for it. I paid 25 cents. No, I paid 50 cents for this book. I bought it at a Humane Society shelter, and it's in great condition. I'd say almost new. So I'm going to list it as very good. But under our pricing right here, we see that the lowest price, the lowest fulfilled by merchant price, is $16. That's a great sign. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on here, Let's see what the FBA price is. $28.94. I'll tell you something else I'm going to do here too. I've got the keep-up table coming up here, and I don't need it right now, so I'm going to turn that off so it doesn't keep loading, because it takes a few seconds to load every time I change screens. And the way to turn that off, let me show you how to do that in case you want to do that. Just click on your keep-up button and then click on options. We're not going to remove it. Wait a minute, I think it had something about hide. No, I'm not going to do that either. So click on it, click on options, and then right down here under add-on settings, you see a default view. Change that from keep up box to button, okay? Just highlight it, make sure it's highlighted the button. There's no save button, just close it down, and then if you reload this, what will happen is that chart will disappear on this page. It actually, on the front page, it'll show up as a button, and you can press the button, but it doesn't show up at all here. All right, so anyway, FBA, $28.94. That's a great deal. Now, this is a book that I've already got, so I'm not going to be buying this book, but let's just see, what can we buy this book for? What's the low price? So it's $16, so not really a good arbitrage that way, but I've got one copy of it I can sell, and I'll list this book for $28.94. Okay, now you might be thinking, well, why am I not listing it for $28.93 or try to get lower? Because when we're selling through this method, we're selling books that are already very, very in demand, and so they're going to sell at your price. It might take a little extra longer, but we don't want to list under the person here, because then it just becomes a race to the bottom. And if they have some type of pricing software out there that's pricing a penny lower, then they're going to price it penny lower than you, and then the next guy's going to price it penny lower than that. Let's just stop that. Let's just list it at whatever price this guy has it at, and then we're going to sell. Okay, a book like this is going to sell quick. Okay, so I'm going to price mine at $28.94, and I'm going to list it in condition of very good. Kind of thumbing through here. There's a few, very few notes, but I don't see any highlighting or anything, so it's in great condition. All right, now, why did Edie and Frank, you're very smart. I knew this question was going to come up. Okay, can anybody tell me why I bought this book? Why I thought this book would have value? Okay, so Edie and Frank say it's so cheap and a how-to. Yeah, I mean, it was cheap, but there were hundreds of other books that I could have picked up for 50 cents each. But I picked this one. I picked this one and probably about 7 or 8 more. Jeff says it's relating to a job. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep, absolutely. Carlos says New Year's resolution buyer. No, I don't think that would be it. In some cases, yeah, but not in this case. Jeff says low bestseller rank. Yeah, but we're always looking at low bestseller rank. And you don't know it. You don't know it's got a low one until you check it. Book related to, Michael says, book related to business or profession. Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Tanya says, was it because of press printing? No, this is Wiley and Company. So it's not like a university press. Only 16 left in stock. Yeah, that's a great point, but I didn't know that until after I checked it. So I'm asking, why did I choose this book to check to begin with? And it's because, as Michael and a couple other people said, it's a book related to a business or profession. Okay? Now, Edie said earlier, she had a really good question. Edie and Frank said, why doesn't this book violate the no real estate book rule. So earlier I said that one of the books that I think in the Wednesday class, I gave a list of books that you should just leave alone, and one of those was real estate. And let me go back on that and tell you what I'm really referring to with those books. Most real estate books that you're going to find at a thrift store or locally, where you're sourcing locally, most of them are going to be the quote-unquote get rich in real estate books. You know, the nothing down, the buying foreclosures, the Robert Allen, the Carlton Sheets, you know, those guys. And there's nothing wrong with those guys, but those books tend to be oversupplied. There's tons of them out there, and most of them are worthless. This book, in particular, that I picked up and looked at, you notice that the word real estate does not even appear on this book cover. If you look on this book cover, you do not see the phrase real estate anywhere. This book is for professionals, for someone who is buying and selling apartment buildings. So that's why I looked at it. So again, profession or career. So this was a really, really good buy, 50 cents, and I'm going to sell it for, I done forgot what I said now. I'm going to sell it for $28.94. All right, so I'm going to click here. $28.94, before I forget that. All right, now, when you get to this form here, under Advanced View, click on that. If you don't do that, you're not going to see the listing notes, okay? All right, so $28.94, don't worry about all this other stuff. You're not going to need it. All you need is price, $28.94. Condition note, I'm going to fill that in just a minute. Condition, I'm going to change this to very good. All right, and that's it. That's all we need. So let's go back and get our condition notes. Now I've got a file for you that you can copy. Just copy and paste whichever condition note is applicable for your book. All right, so this one right here, and of course you can change these, which I do, but I just get the one just so I can copy and paste in here, just like that. So great condition, white pages. Of course, if anything is not accurate, then change it. May have minor writing and or highlighting, which it does. It has some minor writing. Non-smoking home. It's important when selling used books like this to let them know and don't say this if it's not true, but I don't smoke, and so it's a non-smoking home. You're not going to have a smoky smell to the books. A friend of mine lists books, and she doesn't smoke in her house, but she doesn't put non-smoking home. She just leaves it blank. Fast ship, always put this right here. Fast shipping from Amazon qualifies for prime shipping and free standard shipping for orders over $49. This right here, you should boilerplate this and put this in every single listing. That's because you're FBA, and so this whole statement is true. Okay, and some buyers are going to look at this and they're going to choose you over someone else because of this. Okay. All right, now I'm going to click on Save and Finish. That's all the information we need here. We don't need a picture. It's already got a picture. The only time you'd ever put a picture is if there's something unusual about yours that you'd want to take a picture of. It's happened very, very rarely. Click Save and Finish. Okay, now, this is really important, so pay attention closely. This is asking you if you want to use Amazon's label or if you want to use the Amazon barcode, okay? Because most of these books you're listing are used, you can't use the Amazon barcode. You have to use their label. All right, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. And so don't do anything here except click Save and Continue. If you were listing a new book, then you could use the barcode. And that just means that you can use the barcode that's already on the book and you don't have to print out a label. But in this case, we're gonna print out Amazon's label, or actually have them do it. Okay, now this is the very first book that I'm listing in this shipment. Okay, so we want to create a new shipping plan. So the first book you create when you sit down to do your listings for that week or that day or whatever, you want to create a new shipping plan for that book. So it's this option, and then you'll have your ship from address. Now, if you're international and you're using the prep service, you need to change this ship from another address. You need to click there and change it to the address I gave you for the prep center. And that address is in the video, so just go watch that video after we're done here. Okay? So again, that's only for international. You'll want to change this address and ship it to the prep service. Okay? Packing type. It's always going to be individual. So basically everything here, you just leave it as is unless you need to change this address. Okay? Next thing, click on Continue to Shipping Plan. Okay, now we've added this product to our shipping plan. We don't need to do anything else right now. Our next step is simply to add the next book. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close this window down just so I don't have so many windows open. Just like that. And that brings us right back here to this page, and I can list my next item. Now, I don't think I showed you this, but to get to this add a product page, it's very easy. Click on Inventory and Add a Product. Okay, that'll take you right here to this page where you can list your product. Now I'm going to put this book in the box and pick up the next one. Okay, this book is called The Complete Homeopathic Handbook, Safe and Effective Ways to Treat Fevers, Colds, Coughs, Colds, Sore Throats, Childhood Ailments, Food Poisoning, Flu, and a wide range of everyday complaints. So why did I buy this book, or why did I pick this book up to begin with? And this is another thrift shop find. It cost me, this one cost me 99 cents. Valerie says, any consumer would like this information. Not really. It's very specific information. I'll just go ahead and tell you because this is a little fringe, but this is basically, homeopathy is sort of a lifestyle. It's sort of, and people who are into this would hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it's kind of a hobby with a lot of people. And so that's why I looked at it. If you look on our mind map, anything that's a little unusual and niche, hobby, leisure, the more obscure, the better. That's why I looked at it. All right, so let's now look to see the value of it. All right, and this is a paperback version. And when you enter the ASIN or the ISBN number for it, it will bring up the correct format. All right, so notice there's two formats. It brought up the paperback, which is correct. I've always double check it though, just to make sure. All right, we see that the ranking, 43,000, very good ranking. And we have 54 used from $7.69. But that's all fulfilled by merchant. So let's do fulfilled by Amazon. And we see this one, $12.50. So not going to make a ton of money on this, but definitely worth it for 99 cents. So I'm going to list this one for $12.50. This is not a book that I would find and buy from an Amazon seller and then try to flip because there's just not enough margin. But when you're finding it locally and you can get it for 99 cents, then it's well worth it. Okay, condition-wise, it is in, let's say, very good condition. And our condition note I just pasted that right in here. If you're not copying anything else, then you just keep this in your Windows or Mac clipboard. I guess Mac has a clipboard. I'm not positive, but on Windows you do. So I just keep this in my clipboard all the time, and I just paste it and change when I need to. The pages aren't quite white, so I'm going to eliminate that. But there's no markings, so I'm going to put no markings. No writing and or highlighting, non-smoking home, fast shipping, blah, blah, blah. That's good. It's very good condition. Down here, I didn't mention this before, but make sure that it says I want Amazon to ship and provide customer service. If it doesn't, then click here. If you don't have that option, make sure you sign up for FBA, which I went over in the first class on how to do that. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up for FBA. All right, and again, we don't do anything here. We just click Save and Continue. Now, this is the second book in this shipment, so I am not going to create a new shipping plan. If I do that, then it's going to I'm going to have to put it in a different box. I want to add it to the existing shipping plan. Okay, so I'm going to choose that, and then under Add to Shipping Plan, I'm going to choose my last shipping plan. See, I've got several that I've got open for different reasons, but right here is the very last one, and that's the one we want. Add to Shipping Plan and Continue. Okay, and that's it. I'll come back later and enter my quantities after I've got everything listed. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to put this book in the box, and I'm ready for the next one. When you get used to doing this, you can list a book in about a minute or less. It's taken me much longer because I'm talking my way through it. I have to tell you what I'm doing. Okay, so this one is a textbook. It's the Americas Student Edition 2007. So let's go ahead and look at the offers. So it's pretty obvious why I bought this one. It's a textbook. No big mystery there. All right, so this one, the ranking, 263,000, so it's still under 350,000. So let's look at these. Oh, what I'm going to do now is I want to turn on my Keepa. All right. So remember, I selected the button instead of the graph for Keepa. I selected the button. It's right here. So see this? It just says Show Keepa Box. So now I can click on that, and then it will load it. And that way, it doesn't load it every single time and slow down my computer. All right. So I want to see my sales rank here, and I want to see 1 year's worth. Okay, there we go. And remember, the lower the better. So here we go, January. Right here, it's got a real consistent area here for a couple of weeks where it got down into below 100,000. This is 68,000. All right, so definitely improves in January. See what the prices are here, but this is, of course, this is last year's prices. So nothing really that great here, but we do know that the demand will increase in January, and this is another thrift shop find, so I only paid like $1.50 for this one. All right, so I'm going to click on used here. Let's see what they're selling for. Oh yeah, great, $33.95. So I'm going to list mine for $33.95. And this one, honestly, I should probably wait until the end of January. I like to send my textbooks in at the end of January so that they, I'm sorry, January, at the end of December so they hit in early January. But since I'm doing this now, I'm just going to go ahead and send it in now. All right, $33.95 is my price. Okay, condition-wise, this one, oh, and by the way, this is a high school textbook, not a college textbook. Oh, condition-wise, it does look like it's in very good condition. I don't even see any notes or anything. I'm just going to leave this, though, just in case I missed something there with the minor writing, and that's not going to change the condition. Okay, and save and finish. All right, and this doesn't qualify, so I'm going to skip that, save it. All right, add to existing shipping plan. And there we go. Very simple. I'm going to close this window and put this book in a box. And now I'm ready for the next one. This one actually has the original receipt in the book. All right. 97807352066. All right, this one you can see there are several different ones listed. They all look exactly the same though, don't they? All right, so I can see right here, this one has 13 new and used offers, but down here, this one has 124 new and used offers. So that's the one we want to use. All right, so I'm going to look at this one. Can anybody tell me why I took a look at this one to begin with? You know, why did I pick this one up off the shelf and look at it and scan it? Someone said because of the price. Yeah, but I didn't know that until after I scanned it, though, right? So yeah, it would be great if we could know before picking it up that it's going to sell for a high price, but you don't. So someone says college textbook. Yeah, potentially it could be a pseudo book. It's actually not a textbook, but it could be used in a finance class because it has on top of it New York Institute of Finance. Someone also said it relates to a career or profession. Absolutely. In my area, there's a lot of banks here, so this is something that a banker could use. I could see a banker having this on his desk. Specialty subject for professionals. Absolutely. Business book. Yeah. This is one of the best books in the field. Zoltan. Zoltan says this is one of the best books in the field. I have it. All right. So already getting a good feeling about this. 52 used from 2463, which that's just the FBM. Let's see what FBA has to offer. All right, I'm not getting the... Okay, there it is. $35.85. That's the lowest FBA price. One thing I forgot to look at the ranking on it. So $35.85. Let me write that down. Page is still loading. It's a little slow. All right, $24,496. Wow. Now, on this one in particular, I want to look at this one to see if it's going to potentially go up in January. You know, maybe I need to price it higher than what it is right now. I mean, right now I can make it's pretty good money on it. But let's see if in January. All right, and remember, the lower the better here. This one actually spikes up some in January. Yeah, so I'm not seeing a real clear indication that this book sells better during a particular season. It seems like it kind of sells all the time, right? Which kind of makes sense because I bet that the primary market for this book are people who are in banking or finance. Okay, so I'm just going to price it at what I said before, which is $35.85. Okay, and right here is the button. And it's in, again, very good condition. I see very little highlighting in the book. So I would call this minor highlighting, definitely. Okay, great condition, white pages, may have minor writing. Yeah, right, good. Okay, and that's it. Save and finish. See how easy that is to list a book? How many people here have done the Amazon private label model where you're listing your own private label product? Who here has done that? JC and Ken and Marty. Isn't this much easier? You know, I still do my own private label products as well. There's lots of money in that too. But man, this is so much easier to list a product when you're listing on a top of an existing listing. Okay, and let's just save and continue. Add to existing plan, and we're going to choose that same one. Each time we're just choosing the same one. Anytime I do anything different, I'll let you know. All right, I'm going to close that down, and then let's go to the next book. Oh, this is a good one. This is a real good one. 9780275. All right, you read that? Psychedelic medicine, new evidence for hallucinogenic substances as treatments, volume 2. So someone came out with volume 1 already. Why do you think I took a look at this book? Not Isaac, yeah, very niche. It is. It's very niche. It's almost something that would be almost one of a kind. Although this is volume 2, so there's another one. There's another one out there, but it's very, very specific. It's very unusual, and I found that anything, and maybe you should add this to the mind map. Anything having to do with drugs, like pharmaceutical stuff, that anything a pharmacist would have to do with. In this case, this is not really pharmacy. It's more of fringe medications, I guess. But definitely look at stuff like this for doctors and students and so many people on drugs. Yeah, and this could actually be a textbook, I could imagine, too. And even though it's not a university press, it's a publisher I've never heard of before. Praeger, Praeger. But the biggest reason is it's just unusual. All right, so let's do some research. There's only one listing here, so it makes it easy. See what it looks like here. All right, so the cheapest one here is $79.05. Now, here is one thing that will cause you to pause, and that is the bestseller rank. All right, so the bestseller rank on this one is 2.9 million. And I've told you to stay under 350,000 for textbooks And if you're sourcing books locally, then under 500,000. After you get some experience and get some books listed and start getting some feedback, then you can start looking at books that have greater bestseller ranks that only sell occasionally. So we can look to see how often this book sells. But probably, it'll probably take a year for this book to sell, okay? But I paid 50 cents for this book, or 99 cents for this book. And so I'm willing to just let it sit out there for a year until it finds a buyer. Now, some people are scared of the storage fees at Amazon. We'll cover that. I'm going to cover that in a different class because I want to go through the whole storage fee thing and show you why it's not a big deal. But if you're willing to wait for a book to sell, for a book to find the buyer, then a book like this will sell, and you'll be able to sell it for quite a bit. So in this case, let's see how many FBA sellers there are. Okay, so look at this. We've got 2 FBM sellers at $79.05, and then the next one up is 260. 260, and then down here 473, $754. All right, let's see what the lowest one is. No one. No one is selling this book FBA. So that brings up an interesting point. And I can't prove this happens, but if no one is selling FBA, but there's someone out there who really wants this book and they're looking for it FBA, then they're just going to walk away if they can't find it, right? So that might be the reason why the sales rank has deteriorated. It's because there's no one out there selling it through FBA, all right? Now, let's look at the Keepa on this. I don't see my Keepa button. All right, let me turn this back on. I like to spend a little more time on this one just because this is something that potentially we can get a lot more money for than we initially think. Okay, the Keepa box does not seem to be loading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look it up in Camel. So I want to see, it could be the reason why it's not loading is because it sells so infrequently that Keepa just wasn't able to grab the data. Oh, there it is. So it's coming up now. Okay, so let's click on a year, and I only want to see sales rank. Okay, this is good right here. Look at this. So we've got a sale, and this is, I'm only showing 1 year. So it sold in February. It sold right here. Actually, this is backwards. It sold right here in February, and then it sold here, and it sold here, and it sold here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can tell that it sold 6 times in the last year. This is pretty accurate right here because the sales rank increase or improves dramatically on these spikes here. See that? So we can tell it sold about 6 times. So wow. We can also see, let's go to 1 month. All right, so it sold, the last time it sold was November the 23rd. So only a few weeks ago. All right, so I'm getting even more excited about this book. What I'm going to do is, because there are no FBA offers, I'm going to price this book at $299. Because if somebody wants this book, if they really want this book, they're going to pay for it. All right, so let's kind of look at the condition. It's in great condition. This is one of those, it's almost new. but I can't quite list it as new, and I don't like to list as like new, so I'm just going to list it as very good. All right, I don't have my condition notes, so let me go back and get those. Actually, I don't see any highlighting, but I'm just going to leave it like that, just in case there is one or two marks in it. All right, save and finish. And again, I'm skipping this. Because it doesn't apply. Okay, add to existing shipping plan, and it's that one again. And oh, just incidentally about shipping plans, you can tell that by this, but they stay out there forever until you close them. So if I wanted to add more books to this shipping plan tomorrow, then I just keep it open. Okay, add to shipping plan and confirm. All right, and this is the one in the box. And the next one. Close this down, go to the next one. Okay, there's 3 results on this one. The goal, a process of ongoing improvement. This is, for some reason, a t-shirt showing up, so there's only one there. This one has 256. Obviously, we're going to list it on this one. Sometimes you'll also see where you'll have one here, and the price on this one will be astronomically much more than the other one, and you think, wow, I'm going to list mine here because the price is higher. Don't do that. The person who listed it doesn't know what they're doing. They priced it above what the market will pay. Their listing is going to be out there forever or until Amazon removes it. Okay, so always go with the one with the the most offers here. Okay, so the goal, process of ongoing improvement. Let's take a look at this book. Any idea why I looked at this one? Yeah, Isaac, that's it. Yeah, Isaac says it's a business book. We use it in university. Yeah, it's technically not a textbook, but again, it's a pseudo textbook. It's used by some universities. Also, it is by North River Press. I've actually found this book several times and bought and sold it several times. So it's a very popular book. You can see down here that the ranking on it is 3,173. Let's go to the used ones here. So it looks like $4.28 for fulfilled by merchant. Let's look at fulfilled by Amazon, and it goes to $12.28. So not a huge profit, but a little bit. This is a book that I paid 50 cents for. So it'll sell for, $12.28, which is fine. Condition-wise, again, very good. I don't see any marks, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Save and finish. Okay, next book. Okay, this one is A Brief History of the Western World. And notice it does say with CD-ROM and info track. So this one has, originally came with a supplement. a CD-ROM supplement. This one actually still has the CD attached to it in the back. Looks like it's in great condition. Let's go ahead and look at this one. And this one, again, this is just a textbook. So this would be, just a regular textbook. All right. So we see the 57 used from 1 penny. That's the FBM. So let's look at FBA. Showing up for some reason. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So $14.93. There's two of them. They're only in acceptable condition here. And then the next one is $25. It's acceptable. The next one is used good, and it's $33.94. Now looking at mine. Mine is, I would say, in good condition. It's not in very good because there's a little bit more highlighting and writing that I like to see. But it does have the CD, and looks like it's in good condition. So I'm going to list mine at least for $33.94, but let's see what the chart here says. Okay, and we see it definitely looks like it improves here in January, or it did last year anyway. Let's see what the prices did last year. Can't really go by that because the prices are already much higher this year. So I'm going to go ahead and just list mine for $33.94 with the anticipation that someone is looking for this is going to skip over these acceptable ones and get one that has the CD. And here I'm going to let people know in my condition notes that it does include the CD. Okay, so $33.94. Used good. Okay, and I'm going to change this from great to good. Okay, it has some writing and or highlighting. Right here includes CD-ROM. Okay, and then our standard fast shipping from Amazon, qualifies for Prime, free standard shipping, etc. All right, that's good. That's done. Save and finish. Okay, and close that down and go to the next one. Okay, this is called the Standard C Library. Why did I look at this book? Joseph says it's a classic. Yes, it is. And Joseph, honestly, that's the real reason I picked it up, because it's C, it's programming. I'm going to look at stuff like that. But it's a computer language book. Yeah, it's a computer language book, and I know, even though there's no date on here, I know this is sort of timeless. Any book on C, and this could be used as a textbook. So that's why I looked at it. So let's look at Okay, so look at this, 42 used from $35.38. So that's FBM. So let's look at the ranking on this. The ranking is 328,000, so that's within our range, our regular range. All right, so let's look at fulfilled by merchant. Fulfilled by Amazon. So fulfilled by Amazon, there's no difference. I think it's the same. It's the same listing. Yeah, 35.38 is the lowest one, fulfilled by Amazon or fulfilled by merchant. So this is just an acceptable condition, though. There's a used one here that's good, same price. Used good. Let's see if there's any increase in demand in January. It's still trying to load the chart. A little slow when I've got GoToWebinar up here too. All right, so let's look at the sales rank and look at it for 1 year. Yeah, it definitely does look like that in January. The demand definitely increases. It did go back up here though. Here in May, for some reason, increased as well. So I'm going to go ahead and price this higher, just because it looks like in January this is going to be in higher demand. And there's only 2 of them here listed at under $50. So I'm going to go ahead and list mine at $49.99. And it's also in very good condition. But it's also right on the first page of the book. It says it has a price on it. It has a price of $1. It's in pencil, so I'm gonna mark that out. So that's another thing you should add to your list of items to have handy is an eraser, because sometimes you'll see that where the book used to be in a used bookstore, and they'll sometimes have a price on the book, and I always just like to erase those out. I don't want the new owner to see that this book only costs $1. Okay, and if it's in pen, then I just take another pen and just mark over it. All right. So $49.50 for this one. Oh, let's just do that. Just do $49.99. And by the way, this particular book, the author is P.J. Plauger, P-L-A-U-G-E-R. I've bought and sold this book several times too. So you'll see this coming up some, like in thrift stores and stuff. All right. Executing your business transformation, how to engage sweeping change without killing yourself or your business. Pretty obvious why I bought this one, right? It's a business book. Let's see the details. This one's hardcover. All right, the used one, $13.91 is the lowest one. That's good. Good sign. Let's look at the FBA. FBA is not showing up. That's still showing FBM. That's showing a shipping charge. Let me try it again. Sometimes this button gets stuck, so if it doesn't look right, try it again. Okay, look at that. No current listings for this search. Let me try that again just to make sure. Okay, so those are the FBM. Semi are listed. There's only 2 pages. All right. Free shipping. No current listings. All right. I like that. Let's look at the ranking for this book. Forgot to do that. $158,000. So that's not bad at all. Let's see if there's any new listed. Okay, so right here we found the ceiling on the price. We can see here that Amazon has a new listed at $25.11, so we can't go beyond this price right here. But still, we can sell ours for $24. In this case, we do want to be a little bit lower than Amazon because a customer will prefer to buy from Amazon if given a choice. All right, so we want ours to be $24.99, something like that. All right, so you could do $24.95. You could even do $25.49, but I'm going to be what appears to be $1 below Amazon. All right, so I'm going to list mine at $24.99. All right, and this book is in excellent condition. It's got dust jacket, has a little tear on it, but just a small tear. Great condition. I don't see any writing anywhere. Okay, next book, 978-047-05-4799. Winning with Customers, a playbook for business to business. And obviously here you see 48 new and used, and you see 1 here, so we're going to go with this one, and we'll research it. Okay, used ones only $3.98, but that's filled by merchant, so let's see what filled by Amazon is. Okay, so $16.45, so that's decent. So I'm going to list this at $16.45. Let's just see what the rank is. I keep forgetting to do that because I've already researched, so I know these books are within a good ranking. It's taking a while to come up. Yeah, again, it's just slow. You go back. There it is. Well, I'm just going to go back to my form and start filling it out. All right, finally loaded. So 299,000, so still in the good range. Seems like just a pretty consistent seller all year. So I'm just going to list it at that price, $16.45. All right, someone asked earlier about why does it sometimes show a shipping charge, like right here. It says it has shipping of $16.45. No, I'm sorry, that's my shipping. It has shipping of $3.99. I think that's what you're looking at. That's just because that's the lowest price out there for this book. That's a fulfilled by merchant price, and they're telling you that you can click here and match that price. If you see a shipping price here, then it's just a mistake. So just ignore it. Add to existing plan. Okay. 9780890. This one did not come up. Very interesting. No, it came up when I sourced it. That's very rarely happens when a book, for some reason, stops coming up. I'm looking for some type of other number I can punch in here. So the hardback version, this is the paperback, so the hardback version is like that. So that's the hardback, so maybe we can get to it that way. I'm going to click on all product details, okay, and then I'm going to click here for paperback. All right, and now I'm going to see if I can look it up like this. All right, so I'm just kind of backing into it. All right, and it didn't show up. All right, so it must just be an error with Amazon's listing somehow. Because it shows they've got 98 new and 110 used listed. Yeah, and the lowest price is $41.85, so it's definitely a good one to list. And it's a great seller. I mean, look at this. The sales rank is in January. Well, that's October. Let me my range, right? Oh, it's only listed. Okay, it looks like this thing has only been listed for 58 days. So let's see what the date is. I don't usually spend that much time on a book, but this one I can make, looks like I make some pretty good money on it. 2013, so it's not a brand new book. For some reason, not been listed very long. But the problem is I can't figure out how to look it up to list it. All right, so could do this. Can go back here and, oh, I purchased this. This was an arbitrage. Okay. All right, have one to sell right here, so we can just click on the have one to sell button. Okay, and then that brings it up here. So this is a little bit of a different listing form, but we can still go this way. So I'm going to change mine to, even though this does look almost new, but I'm going to list it as very good. I don't see any writing at all. All right, I've got one. Okay, price-wise, okay, so it looks like the lowest price one is $41.85. And then it jumps up to $62.75. Let's look on the chart here. Wait for that to show up. There it comes. Yeah, and again, we can't really tell because it wasn't available last year. All right, let's take this book and look it up on Camel. Sometimes Camel will have data that Keepa won't. Yeah, so right here, it looks like Camel's got the data. So, wow, look at that right there. Last year, January, it went down to a ranking of 25. Yeah, that looks like a really good selling book. I'm going to list this one at a really high price. I'm going to go ahead and list this one for $199.99. Even though there's several competing offers out there, I feel like that it's going to sell so well in January that they're all going to sell. All right, I'm kind of going through a different method here of listing this. It's actually, at this point, it's calculating my Amazon fees, which is kind of cool, telling me that when it sells, it'll cost me $31.35. Let's see if I can use the same shipment that I've already created. If not, I'll go back and just use this ASIN, because now I've got the ASIN for the paperback version. All right, so this one was definitely a little bit different. All right, and now we're back to this point. So I'm going to save and continue. Let's see if I can add it to my same shipping plan. It's allowing me to do that, so that's great. I had never done that before, so that's interesting that you can do that. So basically the difference there was I clicked on the have one to sell, like right here. I clicked on that link and listed the item instead of doing it through the regular method of inventory and add a product. Okay, that's the difference. But you end up in the same place. I'll close that down. And yeah, I had forgotten all about that book. Okay, research methods in psychology. Obviously, a textbook. Hardcover. All right, this one, either the price has dramatically changed or I just made a mistake on it, because it does not look like this is a good one to do. So I'm just going to take this one out. I probably just made a mistake when I picked it up and thought it was something else. So that's going to happen sometimes. American government, institutions, and policies. There it is. Okay, 49 used from 1374. And fulfilled by Amazon is $24.99. And I'm looking at the prices are just climbing here. Look at this, $24.99, $39.99, $48, $48, $50s, $79, $273.75. All right, so that one looks like you can look at it a little closer. Okay, definitely got a dip right there in January where the demand goes up. I would say this is just in good condition. I'm going to list it at $79.99. That's too high of a price for it, but I think at $79.99 it should sell. We can always change our prices too. Like if this doesn't sell by, say, mid-January, then I'll lower the price. I'm just going to put good condition. You can tell it's a well used book. There's no, I don't see any major marking or anything, but you can tell the book's been used. Okay, I know we're going over a little long here, but I think this is valuable for you to learn how to do this. Okay. Particularly since we're running into some out of the ordinary issues, so you can know how to solve those when you come up against them. 97819. Okay, this one is PMP Exam Prep 8th edition. Obviously, this is a textbook, exam prep. I don't know if you call it a textbook, but it's related to college. All right, this is one that you can almost list as brand new. I honestly don't see anything wrong with it, but I'm a little hesitant to list anything brand new unless it really is brand new. So I'm going to list it as used. Let's see what our prices are. So even used, $48.64 is the lowest. All right, and that's for fulfilled by Amazon. You'll see that it's the same. Fulfilled by Amazon and fulfilled by a merchant is the same seller. $48.64. All right, so I'm going to list mine at $48.64 unless I see. Okay, look at this. Wow. 1 year. There we go. So in this case, it looks like this one increases. It's got a great ranking all the time, but it looks like it definitely increases more sort of in February for some reason. And right here we are now. Okay, so even though it's at like 5,259, it should improve even more come February. So I'm going to list this higher. I'm going to list it for 99, like this guy right here, $99.99. Uh-oh, listing limitations apply. I don't see a button to list it. So let's see. You need approval to list this ASIN. I wonder why. I wonder if it's a teacher's edition. I don't see anything about teacher's edition. This is honestly the first time I've come up against this where I wasn't able to list a book because I needed approval. So I'm going to request approval just to see what it tells me. All right. Okay, and this is what it told me. Congratulations, your selling application for blah, blah, blah has been approved based on your performance history. So basically what this means is, I'm not sure why this was limited, but they took a look, obviously, automatically at my feedback and stuff and said that, okay, you're good to list this. So whatever was the reason, I've been approved for it, okay? So that's just another reason why you need to, you need to sell some books. Get some books in your history before you sell anything out of the ordinary. Okay. Now if I go back here and refresh this, it should tell me that I'm approved. Yeah, sell yours right here. Still like to know why that book was in a gated category. Oh well. And so $99.99. Yeah, this is an almost new condition, so I'm just going to put great condition, white pages. There's no marks. Check that out. Very good. And save and finish. Does anybody know? So I guess I'm getting some comments here, so maybe somebody knows why that was in a gated category. All right. Nobody really knows why either. Good question. I've got some good questions in here. I'm going to cover all your questions that you've got in here at the end of the session, okay? If I haven't already. Okay, I hold in my hand the last book for this listing session. And this one is, let me close this here, 97803142394. Uniform Commercial Code. And this is, even though you probably can't see it here, let me open this up and see. Right here, that little insignia says West Group. So anytime you see anything, any book by West, take a look at it. I didn't specifically put that on the list, but this is Universal Commercial Code. So what would this be used in? You know, why would you take a look at this anyway? It's because it's used in someone's profession. Okay, but this is, West is a company that that publishes law books. And when you've come across any West book, take a look at it, because some of those could be worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. All right, so this one, the low price on it is $36.72. That's for FBM. Let's see what the ranking is first. Probably, yeah, on this one the ranking is rather high. It's a little over 1 million. But you'll usually see that on books like this. So they sell infrequently, but they do sell. All right, so free shipping. All right, so it looks like the low one, there's only one listed, and there's only one listed is FBA, and it's only in acceptable condition. So I'm going to go ahead and list mine at a higher price. Let's see if there's any new ones listed. No, there's no new ones listed as FBA either. All right, if we look at just the sales rank here, you can see that it's sold in the last year. Okay, every dip is a sale. So that's a sale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, et cetera, et cetera. So you can tell over the last year it's sold, you know, it looks like at least 20, 25 copies. And since this is a book that is used by attorneys, they, number one, they have the money, and number two, they don't like to wait. And so I'm going to give them the opportunity to get my book at a price that they can't refuse. So I'm going to list it for, let's see what everybody else is doing here. These are all FB filled by merchants. Let's see what the highest priced third party sold for. Turn this on. And make it for 1 year. Okay, so looks like only about $64. Let's see all here. So one sold for $139.95. So I'm just going to make mine $99.99. And I think since mine's in good condition, and I'm FBA, I think it'll sell at that price. It's got a few marks in it. These books like this are not real good to arbitrage simply because they don't sell quick enough. But if you find one locally or somewhere, you know, where you can get it cheap, then that's the opportunity to pick it up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of this box with books so I can kind of show you what it looks like, and also kind of show you that it doesn't really need any packing material or anything. And generally this is how books are. You just pack them in a box and you send them in. You don't need to put in a ton of packing material or even any packing material in a lot of cases. So I ended up with 14 books. I had 15 originally, but remember I took one out because it didn't pan out. I'm going to email myself a picture of the box of books so I can show you. I just want to show you so you can see there's nothing magical about it. It's just a box with books in it. Finish this up. Okay, and add to existing. This is the last one for this box. Okay, so now I'm going to close this one out because I'm done. All right, so number of units. I've got one of each one, so I'm just going to put one right there, and it will populate that box all the way down. All right, so the total of 14. So I just counted them, and I think I just told you there's 14 books in the box. So that's correct. Always double check, make sure that you got the total count right there. All right, now let's go back up, and we see that there's something right here we got to do. It says psychedelic medicine. So this is that one that we spent quite a bit of time on. It says action recommended. Do not add this product to the shipment. The product is slow moving, overstocked, or both. It is unlikely to sell in 2016 and may incur higher storage fees in November and December. All right, so this is meant to scare you and to keep you from sending something in because Amazon feels like that it is not going to sell fast and it's going to sit on in their warehouse for a while. As I mentioned before, this book does sell, and I'm pretty sure when we looked at this, there was no FBA sellers out there. So this book is going to sell eventually, and I'm not scared of paying a little bit for storage fees next November and December, all right, because storage fees are assessed after 6 months, and they're only assessed in, like, I think it's August. I think actually it's August is the next time, but we'll go over that in another session. But basically, the storage fee on this will be less than $1, so I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to check this box right here that says I want to proceed with my shipment, and I understand that storage fees may apply to inventory. Okay, so I'm going to check that, and then I'm going to click continue. Okay, at this point, it's telling us that we don't really need to do anything else. If there was any prep that needed to be done, it would tell us. With books, there's no prep. So unless you're selling collectible books, okay? With collectibles, there could be some prep, but there's nothing here. International, just make sure that you've changed your ship from address to the address that's in the the video that I put in the members area. All right, click continue. Okay, now at this point we have to make a decision about labeling our books. Do we want to do it ourselves or do we want Amazon to do it? I always let Amazon do it. It costs 20 cents per label each, but it just saves me time. If you label them yourself, then you'll need to change this right here to merchant and apply it to all these, and then you'll have to print out your labels. I recommend you just let Amazon do it. Much, much simpler. If you're international, once you set up your shipment, if you're using the Prep Center, always select Amazon to label, okay, if you're international. All right, let's continue. All right, so it tells you here that Amazon is going to charge $2.80 for the labeling fee because I chose to do that. All right, and they're going to make me ship one of these to a different warehouse. So I'm going to see which one it is. I bet it's that psychedelic book. I bet they want that shipped somewhere else. It is. All right, so here's what we do here. I'm glad this came up. It rarely ever comes up, but because it did, I can show you what to do. And the reason it's doing this is because for some reason they want this book in a particular warehouse. And they want me to send it to Eaton, Pennsylvania, instead of the one that's going here to Chattanooga, Tennessee. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that one, and then I'll ship it later with another shipment of books, or I'll ship it by itself. Let's go ahead and click on Approve Shipments. Okay, so we have this one here, Work on Shipment. This is the one of my 13 books. So I'm going to click here. This is where we print off the label and determine how much the shipping charge is going to be and all that stuff. All right, so first off, let's start from the top. It says Review Shipment Contents. There's a little informational thing there that I just ignore that. You don't need to do anything here. Shipping service. You'll use small parcel delivery, which is the default, and you can use either UPS or FedEx. I've checked the prices, and it seems like UPS, at least in my area, UPS is a little bit cheaper. So you might want to check FedEx just to see, but UPS tends to be cheaper. All right, so just keep the default. Come down here under Select an Option. Everything in one box. All right, so for every shipping plan I do, that's one box. That keeps it really simple. So if I've got 100 books to list, that I might have 6 boxes, but I do a different shipping plan for each one. That way it keeps it nice and simple. All right, here it's asking me to, oh no, it's not, sorry. Just looking at something else, right? Actually what it's doing is it's asking me for box weight and for box dimensions. Dimensions are easy because I know the box is 12 by 12 by 12. The weight, I'm going to have to weigh it using my scale. Do that. Okay, I'm using my smart weight scale, and I had to take that one book out, the book that is going to the different warehouse. So in this case, my weight is 34 pounds and 10 ounces. I always just round up. So I'm going to make that 35. All right, so once you get that in, and then come down and click on Confirm. All right, and then right down here, There's a calculate button. Click on calculate. All right, you're going to do this also international. It's the same thing. Okay, it's going to cost $8.12 to ship that box in. So I'm going to click on I agree and accept charges. Now again, this is just the one box with the now 13 items. The other shipment with the one book will be different. All right, so after you do that, then under shipping labels, there's a print box labels button. So click that. Okay, if you noticed, that downloaded something down here in the corner of the browser. And it says package 21 in parentheses. So I'm going to open that up, just like this. And I have a wireless printer. So when I click print, it's just going to print this out on my printer. See what it's got here? It's got two different labels. It's got the FBA prep label, and it has box 1 of 1, 35 pounds. And then it's got the actual shipping label. Okay? So I'm going to print this out. All right, and so this is printing out on my wireless printer in the other room. I'm actually going to put the label on the box, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to take a picture of it and show you what it looks like. Okay, so you know how to put the label on there. I know it sounds silly, you know, it's just a label, but there's a certain way they want you to do it. All right, so now I hear it printing, so I'm going to close this down, and I'm going to go right back here, and I'm going to click on complete shipment. Okay, and now I'm going to click on work on another shipment, and that's going to take me out here. All right, so this one here with the one, I can just let it set here for as long as I want. I don't have to do anything with it if I don't want, and just not ship it. Or I can click on it, and there's a way of deleting it. Right here, delete shipment. So I could just delete the shipment if I didn't want to do anything with it. I'm actually going to see how much it's going to cost to send that one, because it's just one little book. Okay, it's under 2 pounds, so I'm just going to say 2 pounds. And it's not going to be a box. I'm just going to put it in an envelope. 2 pounds, and envelope will be 11 by 9 by 2. $3.80. So that's what it's going to cost me to ship in that one book, which I'm going to go ahead and do it just because that's a book that I put a price on of like $299 or something, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, if you're sending in multiple boxes and you're printing out labels and you print all your labels and then you're trying to figure out which box to put them on, right here's how you tell. Look at your box, one that says 2 pounds right here. So as long as you don't have two boxes that are 2 pounds, then you know which label to put on. I can't remember if I printed that already. All right. I'm going to close that down. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little quick break, and I'm going to go get my labels, put the labels on the box, or put the one label on the box, and then take a picture of it and show you exactly what it looks like. Okay? So I'll be back in probably 3 or 4 minutes. All right, I'm just getting my images here. All right, that's okay. There we go. There's the box with the books in the box. You see that? So notice it's just not. I mean, I'm not trying to fit them in there like Tetris. I just put them in the box. I don't have any packing material at all in there. I just close the box up, and this is what it looks like after it's closed up. So I'm working with two different screens here. Shoot, I can't find my other picture. Okay, there it is. All right, so then I just closed up the box, put the tape on it, and then here's the labels. So you have two labels that print out, and I just cut them off. They print on the same sheet of paper. So I cut them off, and I put one here and one here. This is the actual shipping label itself. And then this is the FBA prep label that they need when they receive it in. They're going to scan it. And when they scan it, it's going to tell them what's in the box based off of what we entered into the into the inventory. But you don't have to worry about that. That's all automatic. All right. So one thing that's very, very critical. Notice that I did not put the label on that crease right there. Okay, because when they open that box, it's going to open up this way. And if I put the label on there, it's going to break that label. They don't want you to do that. They want you to make sure that your label fits entirely on the box. All right, and also this label as well. It needs to fit entirely on the box. It doesn't matter which direction you put it, just as long as you put it so it's not going to break when they open the box. Okay, so that's why I wanted to show you that because that is kind of critical that you do it that way. All right, so that's it. So this box will be shipped out. I will. You can actually get the UPS to come to your house and pick up a shipment, but it costs about $10 to do that. So I always just take the box to UPS. All right, so now let's look at the questions you have. I'm going to go back to the very top. Sorry, I'm going back to the questions. I've answered a lot of them already. Pete, I think I pretty much covered this, but you said, do you always list at the lowest price? What about listing a couple of bucks higher and maybe don't get the next sale, but the one after? I wouldn't list just a couple of bucks higher, but like I showed you in some instances where I would list quite a bit higher. You know, I'm not going to list a couple of bucks higher just to make a couple extra bucks, but I'll list it if it looks like the price. If it looks like a good one to list at a much higher price, then I'll go up the next level. Can you explain this? I see on your listing page, stranded inventory and suppressed. Yeah, those are a couple of issues that come up occasionally. Stranded basically means that the inventory is lost for some reason. And in that case, those items that are stranded, they've been there forever because they were just cheap little items, and I never submitted anything to get them to search for them. So, and the suppressed one is a private label product that I listed, and I haven't completed listing everything yet. And so they're suppressing it because I don't have images and I don't have some other things. And so it's just listed as suppressed. They won't list it until I have all the information. Isaac says, instead of looking at the average bestseller rank under the product details in the product listing, since we have Keepa installed, would you recommend looking at Keepa instead? You know, yeah, that's probably better to do it that way. I always like to look at the source, and the source is that product detail page. And so I haven't been using Keepa for very long, and so until I get a real good comfort level with Keepa, I'm still going to look at that product details, because that's where Keepa is getting its information from. How do you know a book is a high school book and not a textbook? Generally with a high school book, when you open it up, the inside front cover, if you have the book in hand, the inside front cover will have a little chart there for the student to put their name. You've probably seen that before. That they don't have that on college textbooks. That's the easiest way to find out. But usually just looking at the book, just looking at the back cover, you can tell it's a college textbook. Do high school textbooks sell slower than college textbooks? They sell different times of the year. They sell better in September than they do like January, because high school usually, it starts in September. They tend to sell for longer periods of time though, because high schools keep the same textbooks for years and years and years, whereas colleges periodically change. How much did I pay for that book? And I think at that time I was showing you the book on trading, the one that Zoltan said that he had. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one that was used by bankers. I paid that was a thrift shop find, so I paid like $1.50 for it. Ken says, I have listed 6 books this week on eBay Australia. Same format. It's easy. Okay, great, Ken. I've got some questions for you then, Ken, since you're listing in Australia. I was looking at the Australian marketplace, and I couldn't even find books, period. The only thing I could find was Kindle books. So if you could tell me where do they hide the books in Australia? Okay, Joseph says, James, you list as you're doing, and then you send it to Amazon. They make the listing active a few days after they receive and confirm. Yes, I meant to talk about this, but from where I'm sending mine to, from Charlotte, they usually go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it generally takes 4 days from the time I ship to when they hit the warehouse. And Amazon will actually send you an email and say, hey, we received your shipment, and we're getting ready to check it in. And usually that same day, I'll get a second email that says your shipment has been completed and has been checked in. When you receive that email, that means that book is available for sale. So it doesn't take very long. They're very efficient about that. There's some things that Amazon doesn't do very well, but receiving in inventory is something they do extremely well. So we don't have to print out an Amazon UPC barcode to stick on the back of each book. You can if you want to label them yourself. That's just let Amazon do it for you. When you ship books, do you use insurance? No, it's all handled by Amazon. Amazon has a special arrangement with UPS. I've never had an issue where books arrive damaged or anything. So I'm not sure exactly how they would handle that, but Amazon's pretty good with stuff like that. I have had instances where I've sent in private label products and they've been damaged, and Amazon will reimburse you for that. So, you know, with books, I just don't think you're going to have a problem. How do you list book sets or multiple volume books you want to sell together? I list them on eBay. Yeah, if you've got something like that, I think that eBay is the best marketplace for it. Say you send this box today with all the books you are listing approximately, when do you think the books will be live and ready for buyers to buy? Okay, so today is Friday, and Amazon, they tend to work all week long. So Friday, Tuesday or Wednesday, they should be completely available for sale. Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. If you are selling as Prime, why does a shipping amount show up sometimes? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it does. I just ignore it, and it doesn't. You mean on the listing form itself, not on the book, but on the listing form. I really don't know why. I just ignore it. What do you do with books you do not sell? Well, if you send them in and they don't sell after, say, a month or so, then look at decreasing the price of them. And then after about a year or so, then you need to make a decision on whether or not you want to pay the storage fee, which is really inexpensive, or if you just want to have Amazon dispose of the books. But generally, after a year, I've sold just about everything. What will the shipping be for this box? And I went over that. It was $8 and something. So if you figure that I had, I ended up with 13 books in that box because we had to remove one. So 13 divided by, let's just round it up and say $9. That comes out to 69 cents per book. Still don't understand how to do this process if you're not in the U.S. Danielle, look in the members area. I've got training in there to do that. Will you show us how to lower a price? Yeah, I'll show that in a different class. I think we've covered enough today, but there's Amazon has a pricing tool. When you list books to shipping plan, as there is generally a number of days for transit, what is the process for date release? Okay, I think I just covered that. Do you set a date for listing on Amazon, or does Amazon release books to sell when they receive and stock it? They release them as soon as they stock it, and as I said, from here it's about 4 days. Great question. JC said, do we have to sell books, or will feedback from our private label business work? Your feedback from your private label business will work. Okay, so since you mentioned this, let me say this again. The question always comes up, should I open another account to sell books if I'm a private label seller? The answer is no, do not. Amazon does not allow you to have a second account, and if you open a second account, they will suspend you as a seller. I don't mean to scare you, but I really do, because they will suspend you if you open a second account, and they will catch you. You try to do it underhandedly, they still will catch you. They always do. Don't open a second account unless you contact them ahead of time, and they've got a little form you can fill out, and you have to give them a good business reason why. That's actually what they say. They say, we want to know a good business reason why you need a second account, and you need to have a separate bank account, a separate email address, separate everything. And you have to give all that to them ahead of time. So if you want to go through all that, then you can try to open a second account, but make sure you tell them to start with. I suggest don't worry about that. Just use your regular account. If you're selling private label products, even if you're selling under the name of, maybe your store name is Best Pet Products, it doesn't matter. You can still sell books under that. Your buyer is not going to care that it's coming from Best Pet Products. But again, to answer your question, any feedback that you've already gotten under that account will apply to your books. So that's a good thing. As an international seller, how would I weigh the boxes if I send them to you? Also, how would I know the maximum number of books that will fit in one box? Okay, Isaac, be sure to watch the video that I put in the members area for international sellers, because basically you're not going to have to do that, because you're going to send the books if you're sourcing them through FBA, or FBM, I'm sorry, you're buying them through FBM sellers, and then you're relisting them on Amazon, then you just have the FBM seller send them to the prep center, okay? And then the prep center takes all your books and ships them to Amazon. You supply the label after the books have arrived. But all that's explained, so just watch that video. For prep handling, what shall I put on weight of box? Okay, so in that question, that's a good question. You wait until after we notify you that your box is ready to be shipped, and we'll let you know the weight. I don't have a printer. I hope to print at the library. Okay, so go get a cheap printer. But if you don't have one, I'm sure that at the library, just log into your Amazon account there. Do you have the Avery label number that fits the Amazon label format? It's in when you click on the button there to print out the labels, it has all the different formats, so you just choose the format you want. I think there's a bunch of different formats. All right, so it looks like I've answered a lot of the questions already. Do you recommend eFlip.co software? I haven't reviewed it yet. I've got it on my list of things to do. Where do you get boxes from? I get my boxes from Staples, because I get them on sale for, I pay about 50 cents each, because I just like those 12 by 12 by 12 boxes. But again, you could get boxes from a free source, like go to a retail store, a liquor store, anyone that has boxes. Do you put tape over the label so it doesn't smear? Yes. I make sure that I put the shipping tape covers the label completely, just so, like right now, it's been raining here, so I don't want the rain to mess up the label. Do you recommend having 2 separate seller accounts? There's that question. No. Do you see inventory labs to list your items, or you stick with the tool Amazon provides? I stick with the tool that Amazon provides. I don't use any third-party tool for listing. How do you determine if a book is a good book when using local sources, and are using bookstores good? Missed the last training. Yeah, Valerie, watch the last training, because that was like 2 hours worth of training there. So I covered it all. Do you put tape on edges of shipping labels? Go to UPS Center or bigger? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Lloyd, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you put tape on the edges of the shipping label? But yeah, I cover the shipping label completely with tape. Okay, Ken, you said there's no Amazon Australia. So there actually is an Amazon Australia, but they don't sell books. So you said that you sent in, I thought I read before that you sent in books to Amazon Australia. So maybe I'm just mistaken. Okay, Isaac has left, but he wants me to confirm something. Isaac says, assuming that most of my books will be sent to the prep service you offer, okay, so he's international, that I'm only going to need to list the books as shown in this lesson. And the physical packaging and shipping to Amazon, you'll be responsible for. Yeah, that's right. The prep center will do the shipping and packing to Amazon, but you have to provide the label, the shipping label. For sourcing at thrift stores, do you use Profit Bandit to check before buying? Yeah, I use Profit Bandit, but I also covered the free version, the free Amazon version that you can also use. That was in the last class. Okay, I got someone else telling me that there's no Amazon in Australia yet. Do you put insurance on your shipping? No, we covered that. There's no insurance. UPS covers that. That's covered with Amazon's account. We don't have to worry about it. Joseph says, that is indeed a great shipping rate. It was cool to see you figure it out live. Yeah, that shipping rate, you can't beat it. How do you determine if a book is a good book when using local search? Again, watch the training from Wednesday. It's in the members area. For the book, you had to request approval. Would our feedback rating work from our private label sales? Yeah, they just look at your feedback from your account, and as long as your feedback is fine within a certain parameters, then they'll approve you for little things like that. Again, I want to figure out why that book was different, and I'll eventually figure that out and let you know. The only other time that that's happened was when I had to get approved to be a collectible bookseller. Collectibles are a separate category, and you have to be approved separately for that. And the same thing happened. I requested approval, and they approved me instantly. Rick says, I use the plastic label pouches from UPS. They're free. I print the label as you do, fold in half, and put in the pouch with address side up. I've done this. Yeah, that's a great way of doing it as well. That way you don't have to waste a lot of taping over it. Do you have a certain number of books you wait till you have before you ship to Amazon? I always have a ton of books that I have available. Like right now, that one box, I've got another probably 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 4 boxes like that I could ship. Some of them I'm waiting until the end of January or end of December, so I want to send the textbooks in right at the end of December. And there's other ones that I've got that are slow sellers, and so I'm just waiting to send them until I have a bunch of them. When sourcing from a thrift store, do you use Profit Bandit to? Yes, I do. Profit Bandit. Does the FBA revenue calculator take into account tax payments? I don't think so, because it's going to really depend on different variables. Gee, about the tax questions, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure. Can you go to a small UPS center? Yes, you can go to the small ones. Like we have several of them here in my area. They're the small, like privately owned UPS stores. So that's fine. You had mentioned that some textbook is too expensive to invest in even though the revenue is good. For example, for those textbooks that cost more than $100, is there any cost price that you would suggest for beginners to stay at not more than $20 just in case the book is not sold? Whatever you can, whatever your tolerance for risk It's sort of a risk versus reward thing. Personally, I wouldn't invest in any book for arbitrage. I wouldn't invest more than $50. $50, that's the point where I get kind of nervous. So whatever that point is for you when you get nervous. Should I use Amazon Prime when buying books that I intend to ship back to Amazon? No. No, use FBA. I mean, sorry, FBM, fulfilled by merchant. If you don't understand that, go back to the first two classes and rewatch them. The book that didn't show up and you went another route to figure it out had a high charge to sell it. Why was it so hard? I did not, or did I misunderstand? Just go back and watch the replay of this. I pretty much explained it on the replay. I mean, in the session. RO says, have a great weekend. Thank you, RO. You have a great weekend as well. Is Amazon closed at all over December? They're not closed. They do have a restriction on new sellers until December the 19th, but that's just right around the corner. That's what, Monday? 16th. Yeah, that's Monday. So that's not a big deal. So where do you get most of the books you sell? They're all over. I mean, I'd have to go figure out, do I get more from local sourcing or from buying them from other FBM sellers? But it's sort of a mix. As far as locally, I get most of them from thrift stores. You also mentioned that books about coming movies are good to sell, where the bestseller rank is now Fantastic Beasts, where bestseller rank is now #1. Fantastic Beasts, I've got 2 of those laying right here that I've got a list. I've already made a bunch of money on Fantastic Beasts by buying them through FBM sellers, and now I'm ready for round 2. I've got 2 more here, and I've got 1 more that's on its way, and I'm going to list those. I haven't looked to even see where the price is right now, but I've already made enough money to where it doesn't matter. Even if I sell these at cost, I'll still be ahead. But anyway, let me get on to this question. I am looking at the movie Rogue One, Star Wars Story, the book of the same name, ISBN, bestseller rank of 1464, only pre-order now at a 28% discount price of $20.94, excluding shipping. If follow the $20 profit rule, it is not worth to pre-order unless the book will increase more than the list price. That's an iffy one. I haven't really looked at that one in particular, and that's really an advanced thing. That's an advanced feature, looking at the movies that are coming out and the books that are paired with them. When I did the one for Fantastic Beasts, I got each one of those books for less than $10, so it wasn't a big risk. The software that we're working on, as I mentioned, before you even bought this, I said it would be mid-January. We're working to get it done as quickly as possible, and we've got some really cool. I don't want to tell you what's in it because I don't want to overstate anything, but we're working on it now, and it should be ready by, as we said, mid-January, and you're going to absolutely love it, though. There's a book, Catalyst Star Wars, which is, I think that's the question I just answered about the movie. Okay, for people living overseas, do I have to wait for the prep handling to be done first and then list the book? Or the moment I buy the book for prep handling, I can start the listing? Yes, the moment you buy the book, you can start the listing. And the prep handling video is ready right now, G. Just go into the members area, and it's there. Everything you need is there. Okay, so on Sunday's class, I'm going to go over more and more examples. I think that's where you'll get the most benefit. It's just me showing you some more examples of arbitrage book opportunities. There's also quite a few questions that you've submitted that I haven't gotten to yet, just because I'm spending so much time answering questions. Keep sending them in, okay? I'm behind, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't send them in. What I'm doing when you submit a book for me to give my opinion on, then I'm doing a video to kind of show you what my thought process is on that book. So that takes a while to do videos like that. Let's see, what else? I wanted to go to the Australian marketplace because I want to see where, I want to show the people that are in Australia, I want to show you what I was looking at. Okay, so if you go just to any Amazon marketplace, you go down to the very bottom, then you'll see the different marketplaces here. So number one is Australia, right here. Boom. Click on that, and there is the Australian marketplace. So I know that I was not using that psychedelic mushroom book when I saw this. But they only have, apps and games, Audible books, and Kindle books, and that's it. They don't have any other, looks like they don't have any physical products at all, only downloadable products. But hopefully they will at some point. Joseph, I will definitely contact you. Okay, thank you very much for coming. All right, I hope you got a lot out of this. Again, I love doing this session. It's a lot of fun, and I think that it's a session that you can really get a lot from as you see the examples. All right, that's it, and I'll have this replay in the members area probably tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.